How, fellow investors, and I should follow my own advice. I must have shook somebody's hand or touched something somewhere because I have been so sick. I wasn't even planning to do another one of these webcasts until November the 1st, but this one is a special edition. Today is October the 28th. There are, and I've got Carmina Butana playing in the background in honor of Halloween, but it's also a very scary time. I follow a lot of things, and I don't always tell you about all of them because some of them are a little bit out there in space, and I want to convince myself or reassure myself long before I tell anybody but my closest friends. I told 3 of my closest friends about one recently that I had been looking at, and it's called the Webbot. It is a program that was written to pick stocks, and it was written by the guys who did the web, the World Wide Web. So they figured this is the Midas touch. This is I touch it and it turns to gold. How to know what's going to go up and what's going to go down since the beginning of time. But it did pretty accurately predict 9/11. That's where it first came into view. It got some recognition. So people said, some people called other people. I saw a program on it and got interested. And then it kind of predicted New Orleans, Katrina, flooding. And so then people started to pay attention to it, myself included. And I started to watch, one of the dates in the more recent predictions, and these are predictions that come out very long range, like for half a year at a time. And the dates, it gives you dates. It doesn't really give you generalities. And it predicted pretty much the crash of the stock market, the recovery of the stock market, and now you really have my attention because you've got something that is financial and I can use to my advantage. Anyway, it said that something was going to happen, something big on October the 26th. So I kept my eyes open. And it also predicted coastal flooding and things like that around that time. And I didn't see any coastal flooding. Actually, I understand there was some back over in Indonesia and those areas again right around that time because my sister was watching that. But what I did see was the morning of the 26th, the stock market opened up and shot straight up 100 points. Hang on, we're on a ride. And then it abruptly turned and fell 200 points to close that day, October the 26th, at 100 points negative. Now, October's a scary month anyway. I've always been afraid of October, because of what's happened to me in the stock market. By the way, the crash of '87, my birthday is the 19th of October, and it was on my birthday. I was in a class at the IBM Corporation, and I was stuck there, and I kept getting messages on a terminal, kind of like the instant messenger we have today, but this was way before that. It was back in the big iron VM days. But anyway, no one knew what happened. No one knew what happened to this stock market. Why did it abruptly take this turn? And I didn't know either, but I took note of it and said, well, this is the only thing I saw that happened on October 26th, and this isn't anything like 9/11 or Katrina or big in the terms of big. So, but last night, and by the way, when the market was crashing, I was deathly ill. I was in bed trying to sleep, and I had the TV on in the background just listening to financial stuff. But last night at about 3 o'clock in the morning, I heard an explanation of it. And that explanation was that at the precise time, timed almost precisely with the stock market turn, was when they announced the public option in the healthcare program. And several of the insurance giants, I like I said, I'm paraphrasing this, so I won't mention any names, and I won't, but several of them basically pulled stuff out of the stock market and caused this to happen. Now, whether they did it, well, my opinion is, because I have no love for the insurance industry, my opinion is they did this as a strong arm tactic. And I'm pretty sure it worked. Until the next day when Joe Lieberman agreed not to vote against it, but to actually stand there and filibuster the bill if it came through with the public option in it. Now, Joe Lieberman has to cross party lines to do this, so this is really sticking his neck out. I'm not sure where, you know, where this comes into play for him, whether he sits on boards or there's, you know, follow the money, and you'll find the problem. And by the way, the tie is also in honor of Halloween and this time of the year. But at any rate, how do you play this doom and gloom? And I'm going to give you a little bit of strategies. One of the things I've been preparing for is a possible financial setback for the dollar, our country, whatever. And there is a fund that you can do that called CYB. It's a Dryfus fund based on the Chinese yen, the Chinese dollar. And so that's kind of who I think is going to be holding the bag and all the pot and all the goodies and all the marbles when things go. Now, can I be wrong? Gee, that's never happened. But that is a play. And there's another one that I'm using right now. So you might want to pull some money off the table. I'm trying, but I'm not sure I'm being very successful at it. And of course, I don't want to miss the, you know, the greed will be everybody's undoing. But there's another fund. It's a Dryfus fund called FAZ, as in zebra. A as in apple, F as in Frank, A as in apple, Z as in zebra. It's a Dryfus fund. It's a bear fund, and it's 3x, which means it's 3 times what the market's doing. Now, a year ago, this fund was like $500. I bought it for some insurance, in a sense, that if the market went down, at least this fund would go up. And it's kind of a little bit of a barometer for the market also. So if you're really worried about this market, you might want to either pull some money off the table or buy some of this FAZ to kind of hedge your bets. Some other things that I was going to talk to you about in a normal world, which I'm not sure this is anymore, were PWE. It's Pennsylvania West Energy. It's a power company. It pays a nice dividend, a 9.4% dividend. It pays it monthly, which I really love. And it's about $17.35. I didn't tell you about it before. I was actually chasing it a little bit, or hoping it would pull back and getting it at around 13. Well, duh. Blew that one. Another one is in the phone industry, like the cell phone business, but it's European cell phone business. VOD as in David. It's $22.62 in that neighborhood, at least it was yesterday, and it pays a 7.10% dividend, and it pays it quarterly. You don't find a lot of these mobile telecoms that pay dividends, and that one's been tracking upwards nicely. Their sales are good and things like that. So that might be another play, like if I'm totally out to lunch and the sky isn't falling. One other thing, I'm going to talk just before I run out of time about everybody's chiming in on what happened. Oh, the insurance people are blaming the Wall Street and corporate greed and all that kind of stuff. Wake up, America. It was none of those things. What broke the back of the financial industry in this country was oil prices. We were held captive by oil prices and gasoline prices that went up to over $4 a gallon, and people did what people will just do. They went anywhere for their resources, to their credit cards and everything else, to hang on to everything. And if you have followed oil prices since then, the stock market tracks pretty close to the oil prices. The oil prices get too high, the stocks start to suffer. They bring the oil prices down, the stocks start to recover and grow again. So it's oil prices, and one of the things we need to do is break that slavery that we have till the Middle East and go to our own forms. And you know my views on that. Natural gas and then hydrogen. Make it out of the air. I do. I have since August of 2007. That's it for today. Remember, the market will do whatever it has to do to prove the most people wrong. And now, back to you.